Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Fantasy Birds. We are back with some more March Madness predictions for the 2022 bracket challenge. Last year, we had a little bracket challenge. Post came out. We gave you the champion before it happened, Baylor Bears. We predicted it here first on the Fantasy Birds. So I'm glad that you came back around for some more insight. All right, let's start in the West Division. Number one seed Gonzaga. Who are our picks for this region?
All right, let's get into it. We got Gonzaga, no question there at all. Boise State, I'm go with them. They got 6 players, I believe, averaging 9 points or more. With this 5-12, New Mexico State could be a problem, but I'm gonna go with UConn. They're pretty hot as of late, and then just ran into a tough Villanova team. With this Arkansas-Vermont game, I don't know the line, but I would take the Catamounts and the points. With that said, I think what the Catamounts have seen the past couple 4 or 5 weeks doesn't compare to what Arkansas is going to come and bring at them, especially with Arkansas getting bumped by a Texas A&M squad. So we're going with Arkansas. This Alabama game, it might come down to who wins between Rutgers and Notre Dame, but I think I'm going to go with Alabama. They can get it together and get past this one on the first round. With Texas Tech and Montana, I don't see any issue for Texas Tech there. They'll handle business and move to the round of 32. And then with Michigan State and Davidson, Davidson has a transfer from Michigan State who is ready to wreak havoc on Michigan State, especially after losing the A-10 championship game today. So we're going with Davidson over Michigan State. And then with Coach K, there's no way he goes out on a 15 seed. So Duke's going to handle up and take care of business there.
All right, those are going to be the round of 64 picks for the West region. Let's head over to the South, where Arizona holds the top spot in this region. What do we have here?
All right, I think you got to go with Arizona. Can't be losing to a 16 seed off the bat. If you do pick that 16 seed playing game, I really like the Bryant Bulldogs. You got Peter Kiss, leading scorer in the nation. Go with Bryant. All right, next up we got TCU and Seton Hall. Both these teams have been kind of hot and cold throughout the year, but TCU, off the past few games, beating Texas in the Big 12 tournament, and then hanging in with Kansas for a few games. I like TCU to beat Seton Hall here. Houston UAB. Houston, they might got a little underseeded here. They had a few key injuries during the season, to Marcus Sasser and Trayvon Mark. However, I think they take down UAB, even though UAB's got Jordan Jelly Walker. Could be a sneaky March primetime player, but I'm going to go with Houston here. Illinois, Chattanooga. Illinois always struggles in March. Chattanooga's got a big-time player, Malachi Smith. However, I think Illinois is going to get past Chattanooga here. Just Kofi Coburn's going to be a little too much for Chattanooga to handle. Michigan and Colorado State. Michigan, they got Hunter Dickinson. They got Eli Brooks. They made it to the Elite Eight last year. Just had a very down year. However, I think they got enough firepower to get past Colorado State. They might even be favored by Vegas in this game. We'll have to see when the lines come out. Tennessee and the Longwood Lancers. Longwood entering the tournament for the first time in a while. However, Tennessee's really hot, coming off that SEC tournament win. I think they keep it rolling here. Ohio State and Loyola Chicago. Sister Jean, she's a favorite of March Madness fans. And I think she does it again here. She takes down the Buckeyes. The Buckeyes lost to Oral Roberts last year. And this year, I think they're going down to Sister Jean. Villanova and Delaware, no questions here. Villanova, Colin Gillespie is one of the best guards in college basketball, and he proves it.
All right, it's going to settle the top 2 regions for us. Let's head down here to the Midwest. First game, we're going to start off with Kansas in a play-in game. We're going to take the Jayhawks here. Very disappointing March for them last year, but we'll just saddle them up into the second round there, no doubt about it. San Diego State and Creighton, big game here in my opinion. San Diego State's super defensive team, really likes to play slow and wear you down. Creighton, kind of old school team, two post players. Ryan Hawkins, really like that guy. Puts up a lot of points. 7-footer to protect the rim alongside him. So I think this could be a very low scoring game with San Diego State, how they play. Creighton good offensively, not that deep, but I think they can get it done over the offensively challenged San Diego State Aztecs. Here we got Iowa and Richmond. Richmond coming off a world championship in their tournament, but we got to go with Iowa. We like Keegan Murray in that Big Ten. Huge game for them in the Big Ten championship. We like Iowa to keep it rolling. Providence and South Dakota State. South Dakota State played North Dakota State in their conference championship game. Really close game all the way to the end. South Dakota State really good offensively. Providence plays really close games all year. They do have a very impressive record, but in that Big East, they really didn't dominate each and every game. So this one was going to be a pretty big upset coming in the Midwest. We're going to take the South Dakota State Jackrabbits to get it done over Providence in our first major upset. Just thinks Providence has been tested all year with this Big East team and hasn't shown the ability to pull away from this lower competition. We think South Dakota State is in line for a big one. After this, we got LSU and Iowa State. LSU just recently lost their head coach, Will Wade. RIP to Will Wade. But Will Wade not really known for being a great on-court coach, really just recruiting in his scheme. So we think LSU could still get it done with their defensive scheme. Very limited offensively, but if they can hold in their full court press against Iowa State, we think the Tigers can get it moving on to the second game of the weekend. After this, Wisconsin Badgers and Colgate. Colgate, very impressive last year in the tournament against Arkansas, gave them a really nice scare. Wisconsin, Big Ten Player of the Year on their team, so we're not going to root against him. The best conference in the country with the best player from that conference, so we're going to go with Wisconsin and move on. USC and Miami in the 7-10 matchup. USC really didn't get it done against top-level competition in their conference, losing to UCLA and to Arizona, 4 out of 5 matchups. So really nothing impressive from this team. Miami came in highly ranked into the year, a little disappointing. Didn't make too much noise in the conference tournament. USC, very long defensive team, so we think that bodes well coming into March more than Miami's scheme will. And then we'll take Auburn, Jabari Smith. Very disappointing SEC tournament, but we'll give him a game here in the round of 64. So that's going to wrap it up. 3/4 of our round of 64. Let's head over here to the left side in the East region.
There we got Baylor and Norfolk State kicking it off. Got to go with Baylor here. Congratulations to Norfolk State for winning your conference. They beat Missouri maybe 7 years ago as a 15 seed, but I don't think it happens again this year. Then we move on to North Carolina and Marquette. Both these teams have been very up and down all year. That's why they're in this 8-9 matchup. However, North Carolina with Armando Bacot in the middle and 2 guards that can really get hot and turn it on, I think they take down Marquette and Shaka Smart here. St. Mary's and Wyoming/Indiana. Could come down to who wins that Wyoming-Indiana game, as Trace Jackson Davis is a big-time player. However, I really like St. Mary's. They got tested as the West Coast Conference wasn't as bad as most people think it is. And Tommy Kuzi's a 5 or 6 year guard playing there. UCLA and Akron. UCLA was a darling last year, and I think they'll take down the Zips this year to move on to the second round. Texas and Virginia Tech. A lot of people are going to be on Virginia Tech here, I think, coming off that hot ACC tournament. You might be able to pick up some points on the field, as Texas, I think, was a little underrated. Chris Beard knows how to win in March. He's got a bunch of highly talented, mostly transfers from Utah and Minnesota, and I think you can pick up some points by picking Texas here. Purdue and Yale. Purdue's got big time, 2 really big time big men, and Zach Edey and Travion Williams, and then you also got Jaden Ivey kind of plays like John Morant, extremely athletic, and can also shoot the ball pretty well. So I'll go with Purdue here just because I don't think Yale has the size to contend with them. Murray State and San Francisco, back to the West Coast Conference. I really like the Dons here. I like they got two good guards that guard play comes into play a lot in March. So I'm going to go with the Dons to beat Murray State, even though Murray State has had a very good year, ranked in the top 25 out of the Ohio Valley Conference. I think you can also get away with an upset here. Kentucky and St. Peter's, it's no real competition here. Kentucky's got Oscar Tshiebwe, and I don't think anyone on St. Peter's can match up with him.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for our round of 64. Let's head on to the second day of the weekend, round of 32, starting with Gonzaga. Who we got here? Gonzaga and Boise State.
Gonzaga, Boise State. I don't think Mark View's squad really has anything to worry about here. Just too much power. Put them in the Sweet 16. With this UConn and Arkansas matchup, I think this potentially has a chance to be one of the best games of the whole tournament. If this game was at Bud Walton Arena, there's no question that I'm picking Arkansas, but it's not. And they've struggled a little bit outside of home in that environment. So I would pick Danny Hurley's team to advance to the Sweet 16 for a matchup with Gonzaga. Alabama, Texas Tech. Alabama certainly could win this game. They could win the next game. They could go all the way to the Final Four with the talent they have. However, Texas Tech and Mark Adams' defense, this is the same defensive assistant head coach that brought them to the Final Four with that strict defense. They are going to neutralize Alabama, force them to make some turnovers, and advance over to the Sweet 16. And now with this Duke and Davidson matchup, I can't pick against Coach K. I can't pick against Duke to not make it to at least the Sweet 16. So I think Paolo Banchero and the rest of that squad will show up and bring them to the second weekend.
Okay, so let's go to Arizona side of the bracket where they are taking on TCU in the round of 32. Who do we have in the Horned Frogs and the Wildcats?
Like this Arizona team to move on. I think they got the talent to win the whole thing. They got a bunch of big men that they can rotate in and out the whole game. I don't think TCU can contend with that. Then moving on, I like Houston to take down Illinois. Houston, like I said earlier, a little underseeded. They've been playing their best ball leading into this tournament, learning how to play without one of their top scorers in Marcus Sasser. And Illinois, they just continue to struggle in March. In this Tennessee-Michigan matchup, you really got to watch out for Michigan. They have the talent, but I just don't know if they can put it together because they haven't been able to put it together all year. And this Tennessee team, they're always known for their defense. However, this year they have two guards that can really score the ball as well. And I like them to move on over Michigan. This Loyola Chicago Villanova matchup, I think this is where our first number 2 seed goes down. Loyola Chicago plays some really good defense. I said earlier that Colin Gillespie is one of the best guards in the country. However, I like Braden Norris and his leadership. He's been with Loyola Chicago for these past couple of March Madness runs, and I think he can contend with Colin Gillespie's leadership. So I'm going to go with Sister Jean to make another little run in March here.
Okay, getting some upsets in that Arizona bracket. I like it. Let's head on down to the Midwest. First game, we're going to be looking at Kansas and Creighton. Creighton, we like them over San Diego State. Very powerful team. However, Kansas, way too good this year, not running into that USC zone with Evan Mobley in the middle of it this year. So we like McCormick to keep it moving over the Creighton Blue Jays. Then we got Keegan Murray going against South Dakota State. We do like South Dakota State's offense, very powerful, but Keegan Murray, the experience in the Big Ten this year, the most dominant conference from start to finish really all year. We like Iowa to keep it rolling. We just like that Big Ten basketball over what South Dakota State had to face in their conference. Let's move down here to LSU versus Wisconsin. LSU can really beat any team in this field, in my opinion, but also can lose to any team as their offense continues to struggle in the half court. Wisconsin really not a team that's going to turn it over in the half court. They like to get there in their half court set. Very disciplined basketball team. Great coaching. We're going to take the Big Ten once again and move on over the LSU Tigers without their head coach. Following this matchup, we got USC and Auburn. Really don't think Auburn's good enough to make a deep run in the tournament this year, but however, I really like their pathing. USC, like I said earlier, hasn't shown the ability to beat the great teams in their own conference, let alone in other conferences. Auburn, we like Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler, the 5-star transfer, to keep it moving to the second weekend.
We got Baylor, North Carolina. It's funny how these things work. They tried to get this matchup last year. However, North Carolina got smoked by Wisconsin. I think North Carolina might come out here, upset the Baylor Bears. First number 1 seed goes down. We're going with North Carolina. Baylor lost LJ Cryer, and I think that's going to be a pivotal miss for them in this game. They do it again here. They match up some California teams. The Ncaa, they're all over it. We're going to go with UCLA to make another little run in this bracket and take down St. Mary's. Texas and Purdue. Texas lost Trey Mitchell. Purdue's got 2 big men that Texas just can't handle on the interior. We're going with Purdue. San Francisco and Kentucky. We're going to go with Kentucky here. San Francisco can't hit free throws down the stretch, so if this is a close game, I'd still be worried about them.
All right, let's bring it back up to the top of the bracket, where we have
back up top. This will be another great game right here with Gonzaga and UConn. Danny Hurley's squad with the firepower of RJ Cole and Tyrese Martin certainly has the ability to make this a game and push it, but I don't see Chet Holmgren and Drew Timme getting shut down. Put Gonzaga into the Elite Eight. And then with Texas Tech and Duke, Texas Tech, again, they have the ability to shut down some of these players, i.e. Paolo Banchero. Maybe they hold him under 10 points in this game, but I see the guard play coming out with Trevor Keels, him establishing himself as the guy to advance them into the Elite Eight. But with that being said, we do get our rematch with Gonzaga and Duke now. And I think this is where Duke luck runs out. Gonzaga is a much better team than when they faced them back in November. We're putting Gonzaga into the Final Four.
All right, let's head over to the Arizona side. Who do we have coming to the Final Four in New Orleans to join the Gonzaga Bulldogs?
All right, so I said I like this Houston team a lot. However, I just don't think they have enough to contend with this Arizona team. They can't overcome the loss of Marcus Sasser here. I think Arizona takes down Houston. In Tennessee, Loyola Chicago, 2 teams that love to play a lot of defense. However, Loyola Chicago just doesn't have enough offense to hang in with Tennessee, so we're going to go with Tennessee there. This matchup happened earlier in the year, and I think Arizona will pull it out this time, so we're going to go with Arizona over Tennessee.
All right, Bulldogs and Wildcats into the Final Four. Let's head down to the southern part of this tournament, where we have Kansas and Iowa. We do like Keegan Murray. We've been talking about the Big Ten all day long. We like him, but McCormick, senior leadership on this team, other places, I think Kansas and Bill Self are going to get it done going to the Elite Eight. Down here, Wisconsin and Auburn. Like I said, Auburn has not shown the ability to perform extremely well outside of home games, so we think Auburn is in for a upset here. Wisconsin Player of the Year in the Big Ten, Coach of the Year. We like the Badgers to meet up with the Kansas Jayhawks. Similarly, we're taking Wisconsin over Kansas. We saw McCormick in the squad not go down early in the last tournament. We think they're going to make a little bit run to the Elite Eight, but that Big Ten, I like the Big Ten basketball. I like Wisconsin and their coach and their star players to get it done over the Kansas Jayhawks. We're taking the Wisconsin Badgers to the Final Four.
All right, so you got to worry a little bit here with UCLA. They got overpowered by Arizona's bigs. North Carolina's got Armando Bacot, very good player. However, I think the UCLA experience from last year's tournament with Johnny Juzang, Jaime Jaquez, and all of them, they'll overcome North Carolina here. So we'll move UCLA on. Kentucky and Purdue. The only thing I think you really have to worry about here is Oscar Tshiebwe getting in foul trouble. guarding those two Purdue bigs. But I think Kentucky's got enough talent with Severe Wheeler and Keelan Grady and Ty Washington to overcome Purdue. So we're moving on Kentucky. Great matchup here. Two blue bloods. You got UCLA and Kentucky. The NCAA, I think, wants this matchup, and I think they're going to get it. And I think Kentucky and Oscar Tshiebwe is too much for UCLA to handle inside. So we're going to move on Kentucky.
All right. So we have our Final Four matchup here. We're going with Gonzaga, Kentucky, Arizona, and the Wisconsin Badgers. What are you guys' thoughts? I want to hear both your opinions on both of these matchups here.
I think Gonzaga can game plan around Oscar Tshiebwe and shut him down. You asked Drew Timme and whoever else down there to shut them down. Don't worry about offense. We just want to control him and neutralize him. And I think that can get them to the championship game. What do you guys think?
I think I'd have to agree with you there. Gonzaga, they got the experience. They were here last year. They added Chet Holmgren, who's slowly become one of the better players in college basketball, just all around defense and offense with his length. Tough to contend with.
All right, Arizona Wildcats and Wisconsin. Who's going to meet Gonzaga in the championship game?
Dude, give me Arizona. First-year head coach Tommy Lloyd.
First-year head coach would be the first coach to do it in his first year, winning a championship if he is to get there. So I guess we'll throw Arizona to beat the last standing Big Ten team, Wisconsin Badgers. All right, so this is going to be our championship matchup, the Gonzaga Bulldogs, the Arizona Wildcats. How do you guys see this one playing out if these two teams are to meet in the championship game?
I mean, first off, I just love the matchup in general. The Mark Few and then his protege, Tommy Lloyd. So I love the matchup to begin with. Do I know what's going to happen? No, not exactly. But I would want to lean Gonzaga just based on the fact that they've been there as recent as last year. It's got to happen eventually. Why not this year?
Yeah, I think I tend to agree with you there with Gonzaga over Arizona. They got most of the same pieces from last year with Nemhard and Drew Timme. Like I said earlier, you add in a Chet Holmgren, probably top 3 pick in the NBA draft. It's just a lot to deal with. They got some experience. Arizona, kind of new to the table. They've been here before, but this team they have not. And you really hope Kirk Carisa's back by the Final Four, but you don't know with his injury what happened. And if he's not back, I just don't think they can handle this Gonzaga team.
Yeah, Gonzaga is going to be a popular pick to make it to the Final Four and win the championship game for good reason. I mean, the only real key player you lose is Jalen Suggs, and you kind of sub him in for a 7-footer that can shoot, dribble, and Chet Holmgren. So Gonzaga might have one of the easier paths to the Final Four, so there's a very high possibility they get here. Can they get it done? Can Mark Few put all the past behind him and finally get a ring? We're going to say that he gets it done. The betting favorite, Gonzaga, we're going with them. We didn't go with them last year. They ended up coming just that short to the Baylor Bears and Davion Mitchell. But this year, we're going to go with Gonzaga to take home the crown in New Orleans for the Final Four and the champion Gonzaga Bulldogs. But that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Tournament Bracket Predictor 2022 for the Fantasy Birds. We thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time with another episode.
See y'all.